Homer did not put the Odyssey together so that everybody would do a vocab quiz afterwards. He put the Odyssey together so that we could sit around a fire and listen to it and then talk about it. That's what we should be doing with books.
You're talking to a bunch of homeschool moms who are trying to figure out, like, how do I grade all of these things, right? Especially when it comes to maybe middle school and high school, and we need transcripts for our kids. And how do you grade literature? How do you do a transcript for a book, right? I mean, that seems a little bit complicated. You've done this with 6 kids already. So talk us through how we can assign literature to our kids, and then how do we grade that so that it looks good on their transcripts.
Yeah, that's good. I like the way you say that. The important thing to remember when they're little is that nobody's looking for a transcript. And so I think you should not make one. We think that worksheets and written assignments, with the exception of a literary essay, are the opposite of the learning process and the education process in literature. Homer did not put the Odyssey together so that everybody would do a vocab quiz afterwards. He put the Odyssey together so that we could sit around a fire and listen to it and then talk about it. That's what we should be doing with books, as long as we possibly can. There are 2 things that mitigate against that, though, and one of them is we also want to teach our kids how to write, because we live in a different culture than Homer did, and everybody needs to know how to write, and literature is one of the things we can use to learn how to write. That needs to be kept separate in our minds from the literature process. And then secondly, of course, when they get into high school, other people outside the family have reasons to want to know what's going on in our literature classes, and they want to see written evidence. And so we have to produce some sort of assignment trail. But I always want to keep the thing distinct in everybody's mind. I mean, if I imagine a kid coming up to me and who's just read Huckleberry Finn, and I ask him, how well did you understand it? How well did it actually go down into your heart and soul? How much of Mark Twain's goals actually landed with you? And he looks at me and says, 87. Then this is not really an answer that I can use.
Right.
And it doesn't, well, maybe I can use it, but it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And so what I think we should do when we come to making assignments and grading them is to separate out the 2 processes that we've been talking about. The literary education, which frankly happens in an oral discussion, and the paper trail we need to create for the powers that be. And I think what we can do is make a set of assignments in that paper trail that can be graded based on stuff that is repeatable and is measurable. Like, for instance, did you turn it in on time? Does it have grammatical errors in it? Does it refer to the text in its answer? That we can quickly evaluate, make a grade for, and then that paper trail can be true to itself and also not take a bunch of our time. We use the Socratic method for this, actually, the Socratic list that we've developed at CenterForLit, which is available in our basic seminar, Teaching the Classics. It's 172 discussion questions about the structural elements of literature. Each one of those can be a very effective essay prompt. What is the main goal, obstacle facing the protagonist in this story, and how is it solved? That can be a 1-sentence assignment for a 5th grader. It can be a 1-paragraph assignment for a 6th grader. It could be a 1-page assignment for a 9th grader. It can be a 1-chapter assignment for a grown-up. And so the same question can be applied to various grade levels and then graded based on the technical aspects of character. Did you apply yourself and turn it in on time?
Right.
Mechanics. Are there capital letters at the beginning of every sentence? And general reference to the text. We think that kind of assignment is really the most effective kind.
So talk to the mom who maybe she's like, I'm not great at grammar. You're asking me to grade my kid's paper, and I don't really know how to do that. You know, that grammar and reading and writing is just not her gift.
Sure.
How would that mom deal with that?
All kinds of resources out there for grammar. It's in the phonics in grammar and syntax category. Missy and I used IEW, Institute for Excellence in Writing, all coming along, and it's basically a foolproof way to get your kids to write clean English prose. And so that's what I would recommend, some sort of resource like that.
Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked Podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.